I'm about to sand and thought I would make a quick video for you. This is real wood. If you look closely, you can see kind of the grains on the side. So I know this is real. I'm gonna use a 120 grit on my sander using my mask. Now later I'm gonna be sanding this. I'm not gonna post a video, but I'm just gonna show you. You can see it's fake wood. See how it's kind of chippy, discolored? I'm going to be sanding that with a 150. I have just started doing this recently. You can do a 120. You just wanna be careful not to get past this fake wood grain. This is fake, and if you sand too far down, you're gonna get fake wood. Let's see if I can, but you know, that looks real. See, I told you it's tricky sometimes. I hate when people ask me this because, okay, see here how it's chipped? You got that fake wood. You don't want to sand so far that you get to that. So this appears to be real, this block. Okay, and this spot right here seems real, but this is not. So you kind of have to figure it out. It's frustrating. But I'm gonna sand this fake piece with a 150 grit just to be safe, and I'm about to sand this one with a 120 grit. Let me get you kind of set up so you can watch this process real quick. Gonna put my mask on. Okay. Line it up. Stick it on. It's gonna be loud. You can start it in the air or you can put it down and start it. It doesn't matter. Takes a second to cut off. It really is that easy. That's sanding. Now, I forgot to mention on the slideshow, when you're sanding little details like this, you want to use a Dremel. But honestly, sometimes if I can't sand it by hand, by just bending a piece of sandpaper and reaching in there, I prime it. And that's just my way of making sure it's going to stick, because sometimes a Dremel can be a little annoying. For this one, I'm still deciding whether or not I want to paint it or leave the top natural wood. So if I want to leave it natural wood, I have to sand all of this down to get that even color underneath. And if I want to paint it, I just need to do what I just did. That's fine, leave it that way, and have enough grit. While some brands of paint may say that sanding isn't necessary, I always sand because it can't hurt, and it is insurance that your paint is truly going to stick and last on your piece of furniture. There are 3 different ways to remove paint, 3 different ways that I use at least. The sander, Citristrip, and a heat gun. My favorite is a sander. It's easy to use. It seems to work pretty quickly. A heat gun is a little bit more tedious, but it is a great backup option, and my least favorite is Citristrip, but sometimes it truly is necessary when a piece is being extra stubborn. If you are able to sand the piece, you need to do it in a well-ventilated space. This could be a patio, porch, basement with ventilation, a room with open windows, garage, yard, shed. I have even had some people tell me that they do it in their apartment parking space. And when it comes to buying a sander, there are 3 different types, all of which are very affordable if you start with some of the cheaper options. My favorite is the orbital sander. It's powerful, easy to operate, and most people prefer it over the other 2 options. The second is a mouse sander. While this is great to get into corners, and it does work similar to an orbital, I have heard that people prefer orbital more. The last is a sheet sander. I'm not a huge fan of a sheet sander. The only real benefit to it as opposed to the other 2 options are that it is less powerful, so it can be used in between coats of paint, but for me, I would rather save my money and just do that by hand. Am I using my sander right? Odds are you are. It's pretty simple. You plug it in, Velcro on the sandpaper, aligning it with the holes, empty the dust bag just in case it's getting full. If you're indoors, you need to ventilate the space and connect the sander to a shop vac, which is a great option if you do have to sand indoors. Put on your mask, your goggles, your gloves, and other safety gear to protect your lungs. Honestly, all I use is a mask. I probably should use the other things though. I did have a scare with lead poisoning. Fortunately, I tested negative, but it is a real concern, so use caution. Switch it on. Begin sanding. You can do circles back and forth, up and down. You can even angle it a little bit to get like sharper in some areas.
That can damage your sander if you do it too often and it starts to wear down the sandpaper and starts touching the sander, but I use it like that all the time. I'm just careful with it. You do have to choose which grit of sandpaper you want to use on each piece and during which part of each flip. The higher the number, the smoother it is going to make the surface. For instance, if it's a 400 or higher, you could probably rub that sandpaper across your cheek and it's not going to hurt. Now, if you take a 60 to 80 grit and rub it across your skin, it is going to hurt, just to give you kind of an idea of what we're looking at. I only use 60 to 80 grit when it's a very stubborn piece. That paint is just not wanting to come off. 120 is what I typically use to prep for paint or to remove the old paint to restore it to natural wood. 220 is great to smooth out wood, and then 400 and higher is what I use to sand in between each layer of paint and sealer to remove and minimize brush strokes. You sand the first time after cleaning with a 120 grit or lower if it is a stubborn piece. You're also going to sand gently by hand, so you take that paper off of your orbital sander and sand after each coat of paint with a high grit. So this is 400 or higher in my opinion. And you also sand gently after every coat of polyacrylic, again with a really high grit, and again by hand. This is going to help minimize those brush strokes. So many people are so confused when it comes to knowing how much they need to sand. If you're wanting to remove all of the paint and show that wood underneath, you do have to remove every speck of paint when you're sanding. But if you're just wanting to paint over it, all you have to do is rough that surface up enough for the paint to stick. Over time, you'll learn what that looks like, but you don't need to break a sweat. It won't take a ton of effort. You just need to roughen that surface up. I always say the first 5 to 7 times you use your sander, especially if it's for extended periods of time, your hand is going to be tingling afterwards, almost like still sanding. It'll vibrate and feel very uncomfortable. Don't worry, there's nothing you can do about it to prevent it, but after about 7 times of using your sander, you'll never feel it again. I've not felt that in a year now. In the cases where sanding doesn't work and you need to use a heat gun, it's a very, very simple power tool to use, as I did break down in the tools section of this course. All you do is plug it in, wear your protective gear to avoid burns on your hands, wear a mask, make sure you use this outside. It does give off a very strange chemical smell, and if there is any kind of toxins in the paint you're removing, it can get into the air around you. You turn it on by pressing the power button and adjust the temperature as desired. There's no cut and dry method. Turn it up if you think you need more heat. Don't stress over it. Hold it about 6 inches away from the surface. You can always get closer or further away as you need to. Once that paint starts bubbling, you use your 5-in-1 tool and scrape it off. It will be very hot, that old paint, and have somewhere to put it. Set it in a trash can, in a bag, whatever you need to do to keep it off your floor because it gets messy very quickly. Be cautious when setting your heat gun down because it is still blowing out potentially 1,000-degree temperatures, so it can catch things on fire around it. When you're done, turn it off, set it down, let it cool off, and then unplug it. Now, if you've tried sanding and you have tried the heat gun and this paint is so stubborn it is just not coming off, dun dun dun, you have to use Citristrip. And I hate to tell you it, I hate Citristrip. I don't think many people like using Citristrip. But here's the way to use it. You want to wear gloves because it is toxic to your skin, although it is safe to inhale. So don't stress too much about the smell because it smells kind of like oranges, but it is one of the most non-toxic options for strippers. Citristrip is the messiest part of refinishing furniture. Heat guns leave like strips of paint. Citristrip leaves goo everywhere. So keep that in mind. Definitely do it outside. I would never touch this stuff inside. Keep a trash can nearby, paper towels, everything you need. Make sure it's warm outside, not too hot and not too cold. It will not work if the temperatures are extreme. Once you have the Citristrip on, wrap the area with saran wrap. For whatever reason, this helps it work better and it'll scrape off a lot sooner when you do this. It also prevents it from drying out. You can leave it on anywhere from 1 to 24 hours. Continue to come back and check it by scraping it with your 5-in-1 tool. Once it's done and ready to work, the paint should very easily come off with the scraper. Once it's off, you can use mineral spirits and steel wool to remove the leftover goo, or, like me, you can clog up lots of sandpaper.
Now, as I've sanded the top down, you see this grain? It is disappearing when I sand too far over here. Please ignore my nails, it's a long story. So that means there may be real wood under this layer of fake wood, or the whole thing may be fake wood. I'm just gonna keep sanding because, I mean, honestly, if it is fake wood underneath, over here it was already chipped and I would have to paint it. So there's no harm in trying. I'm gonna switch from a 120 grit a little higher to a harsher grit just to go ahead and get off this coating of veneer, which is this fake wood with the grain, and just see what's underneath it. It looks like I got lucky on this one. I went down to a 60 grit, although I wish I had an 80 because I wanted something in between. And it looks like there is real wood under that veneer. So I got really lucky. If you sand too far like I did earlier and you see that white substance underneath your veneer and you don't have real wood, maybe it's pressed wood, whatever it may be, you unfortunately can't go back. All you can do is try to touch up the edges with paint that's very similar. It's not going to be perfect, or sand the entire surface and paint. Hope this helps.